My second special guest this week is a huge encyclopedia of skydiving and parachuting knowledge. This guy made his first skydive in 1986, and now with over 14,000 jumps and 25 years of instructional experience, he brings all his knowledge and wisdom to the world, teaching basic, advanced and instructor level canopy courses. He also runs an online group where skydivers get help and basically ask any questions about anything. This is Brian Germain.
So with your building parachutes, you're already, as a rigger and as a coach, you already got safety in your mind. But it starts to come to the forefront. You start to get really serious about safety and an educator in safety. How did that start for you?
Well, honestly, I mean, I was giving free fly seminars back in those days because, like nobody really did it. And most skydivers just don't want to deal with giving a talk, or they don't feel worthy or something like that. And I was like, well, if somebody doesn't give a safety talk, people are going to have premature deployments. They're going to have collisions. Free flying was so new that people didn't know that you couldn't do it with an ROL, a leg strap throw-out pilot chute. They just didn't think of that. And so I started doing free fly seminars. And of course, when the competition stuff started to really grow and we were on TV, our names got out there and we started traveling and teaching. And, Quincy, of course, the World Free Fall Convention, giving talks on the big stage. And that was kind of a big deal. And Tony was always kind of shy in front of a big crowd. And so he'd like, Brian, come on, mate. I'm going to give a talk. And so it'd end up, he'd stand there, say hello, and I'd give the talk.
Right.
He didn't want to do it. And then I remember early on, I wish I had the date. JC Colclaser was going to give one of the first swooping, like sort of canopy control seminars.
Yeah.
And
this would have been like 97, 98, or maybe later.
At the latest. It could be earlier.
Yeah.
I think it was earlier than that, actually.
Wow.
And I mean, he was the man. Well, he was ripping it up on his Icarus Extreme. Yeah. And everybody wanted to know how to do this stuff.
This was quite a long interview with Brian, and you can watch it all on the Air Sports Promotion YouTube channel. Clicking the like and subscribe is always much appreciated.
Tell me about your online coaching. How does that work?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a membership thing that a lot of people join. So for the price of a jump per month, they have access to these live meetings. They usually go about an hour and a half, something like that. Yeah. Do that a couple times a week, one earlier in my day so that the Europeans can join.
Yes.
And I think that's very helpful. And in an evening one. And I think we're going to end up expanding, doing more of those. And basically we log on and I say, hey, everybody, how was your week? Anybody make a jump that you want to share the landing video or, something that's sort of salient for you right now, or give me a topic to discuss, ask a question. If I don't know, I'll say, I don't know, but here's some direction to go where we can find that answer, because I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I know what I know, and it's helpful information. But I think it's important for everybody to have that humility and, just balance the humility against recognizing your value. Yes. That you could save some lives.
Yes.
You could
and this leads us on a little bit to this latest video, this wiggle room. It's about knowing humility, knowing your skill level, and understanding how ego works. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we're all trying to figure out where ego comes from, but it is a pain in the ass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I look at it is that we want to feel safe. We want to feel safe enough based on our skill set and our knowledge base that we can jump out of the door of that airplane feeling great, that we're not in a state of worry, that we're walking through a minefield where we don't have any control over it.
Yeah.
And so I think we build this ego structure, this belief in ourselves in kind of it's a positive concept, I think the ego is an idea.
Yes.
An idea of self in terms of what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
The trouble is that desire to feel good about yourself and feel confident leads in the direction of complacency, of pushing your limits beyond what is possible, not paying attention to things that will get you killed eventually.
Yes.
But the idea of wiggle room is that there's always a little bit of play in the system. In other words, if you're doing something that's dangerous, you may not be killed by it for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever that is, in that particular conversation, the clip, from our My Mighty Networks group, we were discussing, it was a low experience jumper that felt funny in the plane when all the hop and pops start going towards the tail of the plane too soon, right? Yeah. Instead of staying up under the wings, keeping the CG in balance.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, but I only have, 80 jumps. Who am I to raise my hand and say, hey, everybody move up? And it's an important thing, because the people don't always, myself included, we don't always realize when we're crossing a line. Right. And our initial reaction might be, a little bit of affront, a little bit of getting bruised, because I think of the ego as, sort of a very injurable, vulnerable thing, right? We can get our lower lip out a little bit, and then we're cranky, and then we end up defending an incorrect position.
Well, this is what happened in the cockpit with airliners, wasn't it? The junior was afraid of saying something to the captain if he saw something which didn't look right, and they had to change that behavior quickly, and it saved a lot of plane crashes. So,
well, and lots of other things too. Military organizations, corporate organizations. You never know where that valuable piece of intel is going to come from. It could be the guy that's pushing the mop down the hallway.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have a different perspective on it. And I think if we value all perspectives, we can get the information that we need.
Yes.
And if we get so insecure about our place of power that, we play this old game, of King of the Mountain, and we don't listen to those voices that threaten our power and our security.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important idea that I'm just trying to sort of push out there, is that your 6, in flying, call it check your 6. What you can't see right now because you're focused right ahead is being sort of watched by lots of people.
Yeah.
And you have to be ready to receive that information, because you don't know when, you come out of the bathroom, you got toilet paper hanging in the back of your pants.
Yeah.
You don't know when your pilot chute's halfway out. You don't know when the spot is actually getting long and you're focused on your 4-way, got to get to the exit, and you're inside of your myopic tunnel vision trip.
Yeah. Even just forgetting to take your seatbelt off.
It's embarrassing.
Done that.
It's embarrassing, and sometimes it's crazy dangerous, when it's an emergency exit situation, or classic was one of the women's world records. My wife she's always like last out because she's little, and she's go, and they're all trying to get out of the door of the plane, or one of the chase planes, and somebody forgot to take off her seatbelt, and boom, and she's laying face down on the floor trying to get it off, flopping like a fish, and everybody's climbing over her,
just leaving her
out the door. And Laura stopped and helped her get the seatbelt off and helped her out the door.
Yeah.
It's that kind of brave compassion that we need to continually refresh, actually doing it, but also shining a light on it when people are that way, with their behavior, to give them a gold star in the fridge, and sort of a public thank you when they do something that is outside of their purview, outside of their responsibilities.
So if you were stood outside a Twin Otter, everybody's about to get on, and in this hypothetical situation, you can't hear the engines, they can all hear you, you can speak to them normally. Before those 22, 23 people climb on board, what would be the one thing you would like to say to them? Guys, please, what would it be?
Take your time so that you can be aware of everything. It's the rushing. It's the quick. I think that's what collapses down the human consciousness into that sort of laser beam singular focus.
Yes.
That excludes the periphery, the surround, the BOC that's behind you, or the other guy's that's open. Expand your view out through slowing down your breath your emotions, right? Your thought process, so that you can observe everything clearly. And so you can speak clearly where people can understand you. Right? Leadership requires slow, deliberate speech. And people are like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And I think as well, we have to remember when you're full-time, you know, when I was full-time in Ampura Brava, you're jumping every day. You become very used to the situation. It's easy to be relaxed. It's easy to be in control of yourself, but it's also easy to be complacent. But you might have somebody there, it might be their first jump for a few months, you know, there might be very low jump numbers. And you have to take all this into account. It's easy to get frustrated with people, isn't it? If they are slow getting the seatbelt on, or they're not sitting in the right position. You know, you've got to give these, it's responsible for the full-timers to take the time to look after the low-timers.
And to be a good example, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, of how to move in the plane and how to be specific in your checks and organized in how you do things.
Yes.
So that you can sort of radiate safety in lots of different ways.
If I'm at the back of a twin otter, because normally I am, because we're the first group out, I'll always try at the beginning of the day just to make sure I'm facing everybody and actually do, you know, my reserve drills, in just to let everybody know it's okay to do your reserve drills. You know?
Exactly. You're not being a wimp by checking.
Yeah, you know, and I've seen people's eyes go like, oh, maybe I should do my reserve drills. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would take that even further, because that's it's spot on and extremely important. Especially for the newer jumpers, but also to make eye contact with other people and keep them from going back inside their shell. Nervous people, man, they just go so much inside their shell. And I understand there's the visualization phase of your ride to altitude, where maybe you want to close your eyes. That's okay. But if the people are, you know, are sort of looking around and they don't want to look at, if that new guy catches your eye and you give them that really groovy eagle eye, you know, sort of, I almost want to call it sort of a loving gaze.
Yeah.
But everything's all right.
Everything's going to be okay. You know,
They catch your breathing tempo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They catch your vibe, and it completely changes what happens for them.
Yeah. That's a really interesting thought. And looking at the time, I think that's a good place to leave it, Brian. We've done half an hour.
Dude, I could talk to you every day, all day. We should do a show.
We should, man. We absolutely should, but we'll definitely get you back.
Yeah,
but it's nice to see you, Brian. I hope to get, I don't think we've actually jumped together, have we?
Not yet.
Let's make that happen.
I'll do it. I'll go flat for that.
That's all I can do, man. I'm a one-trick pony.
Swing always used to say that. Flat's cool if that's all you can do. I'll do whatever you want, man. Let's we'll get together and get in the sky a little bit. Play.
Let's do it. Brian, have a great afternoon. Thanks for joining us on Air Sports News. Take care.
Have a great day. Each of us is born to be brilliant. We are not born to be boring, to be mundane, and we're not born to toe the line of safety so much that we don't live.